This video is sponsored by Incogni. As users of the internet, we know that our data is out there. Your personal data is constantly being collected by data brokers and sold to businesses because data is valuable. And this doesn't just affect you in minor ways such as spam emails or targeted ads. Personal information like your name, address, and social security number are all likely stored at multiple data brokers. And if this data gets into the wrong hands, someone can make unauthorized purchases on your behalf or steal your identity. This is a real problem. In just the second quarter of this year alone, there were around 52 million data breaches worldwide. The good news is that you can legally request data brokers to erase your information from their database, but doing that yourself will take a really long time. That's where Incogni comes in. Incogni will automatically reach out to the data brokers that likely have your data and request your information be removed. It's a super simple process. You just create an account with Incogni, and that's literally it. Incogni does the rest. In real time, you can see how many data removal requests have been sent and how many of them have been completed. Incogni will automatically continue this process forever as long as you continue your subscription. You can purchase Incogni for $11.49 a month or $69.48 a year, but be quick because the first 100 people to use the code ScareTheater and Incogni.com/ScareTheater will get 20% off. Keep your data secure with Incogni. This innocent-looking image has a disturbing backstory. Earlier this year, this vague meme began circulating around the internet. Initially confusing many, eventually this image's true origins became known. The women seen in this image are the alleged victims of what is known as the Yang Hotel case. As the legend goes, in 2003, a man named Chaoguo opened a small hotel in China. Unfortunately, the hotel did not end up doing so well and quickly faced the threat of bankruptcy. As a result, Yang went several months without paying any of his employees. The disgruntled employees went on strike to demand they receive their pay. Under pressure, Yang decided he needed to act quickly. First, he called in 4 of his male employees from the hotel and paid each of them what they were owed. After sending them on their way, he told the 18 female employees seen in this image to meet him at the garden behind the hotel to receive their money. Upon meeting him, he made them all a beverage that was spiked with a sedative that incapacitated them. From here, he one by one hung them upside down and decapitated them, taking pictures of his crimes with his cell phone. This is supposedly one of the images Yang took of their decapitated heads. While this massacre was going on, one of Yang's male employees that he paid earlier remembered that he left his ID card at the hotel. He drove back to the hotel to get it, but was confused to see that no one was there. He wandered around to the garden in the back and tried the door, which was locked. Using a chair, he climbed through a window and crept up the stairs to find a headless corpse hanging from the ceiling. He quickly called the police to report what he found. When the police arrived, they found the bodies of these women scattered all around the hotel. Only 2 of these women survived, as the police arrived before Yang could finish the job. After Yang was arrested, he told the police that the pressure to pay the money he didn't have was too much for him, and his mind broke, causing him to commit this massacre. I have to say, my first reaction when I first read about this was pretty much the reaction of this comment on the Reddit post about this. The story doesn't really make any sense, and it reads like a poorly written creepypasta. Not to mention, the alleged real images included with the story are just absurd. But of course, that isn't enough for everyone. So, okay, Mr. Deadly Arms Student, let's do our research, shall we? Starting with the most basic, we can do a quick Google search for the Yang Hotel case and see that there's surprisingly little coverage of what should be a pretty notable event. I had to dig for a while just to find a handful of sites that were talking about this. Some were in poorly written English, some were in Vietnamese, and some were in Spanish. But what these all had in common were that none of them were reputable sources. Even the information from source to source is inconsistent. Some sources say this happened in 2004, others say it happened in 2014. Some say the Yang Hotel was opened by the Yang brothers, and some say it was only opened by one person. And it's not entirely clear what these girls were hired for in the first place. Some sources say they were waitresses, some say they were sex workers, and this one source says they were hired for Yang's own metamorphosis, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Maybe we can try to go a level deeper and try to find out more about the man responsible for this massacre, Yang Chaoguo. But even this won't yield much. The closest thing you will find is a Chinese serial killer named Yang Shanghai, but his crimes are completely unrelated to the Yang Hotel case. But we're not totally out of leads just yet. We still have all those quote-unquote real images from the event in these articles. These images do no favors in proving the authenticity of this legend. I did a reverse image search on this image of Yang being arrested and led to an article of another case that was actually somewhat similar while also being entirely different. This picture is actually just the arrest of a Chinese man who got into a dispute with his neighbor that resulted in him decapitating her and throwing her head from the 5th story of the building. No, this man did not own a hotel, and no, his name was not Yang. His name was Ran Mao, so while similarly gruesome, this is not related. Still, we're not done. We also have a bunch of these supposed real images of the victims that Yang photographed with his cell phone. These pictures are also easily debunked with a quick reverse image search. Here's the picture of one of the victims, and here's the actual unphotoshopped image. As you can see, the woman's head is just through a hole in the wall, and the blood was just photoshopped on. Very similar situation to this picture, except this one was even more heavily photoshopped. Here's what the original image for this one looks like. See? Head still attached, body intact. As for the purpose of these original images, I'm sure you can already guess that they were created for fetish sites. So from a common sense standpoint and an empirical one, it's clear that nothing in the story actually happened. It's just some weird horror fetish story if that's your thing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.